I see SEO copywriting like a formula. There are a few things that I do that I think a lot of other people don't do that makes me very good at SEO copywriting. So in today's episode, I'm going to share my principles of copywriting, why these principles are important, and how I think about keyword use. Let's start with the basics. Search engines want to recommend resources, pages, articles, whatever it is, that satisfy search intent and keep searchers on the page. They don't want searchers doing what is called pogo sticking. Pogo sticking is when a searcher goes into a web page that is recommended by Google and very quickly leaves the page, goes back to the search results, goes into another page trying to find what they're looking for. So it is a very strong ranking signal if you can prevent searchers from pogo sticking, if you can keep searchers on the page. And an easy way to do that is to have a very clear style of copywriting, of writing. So I'm going to talk about my Pareto SEO article later on in this episode. I wrote an article. It's about the 20% of SEO that gets 80% of the results. And I just want to read the introduction of this, which isn't going to teach much, but it's my style of writing that I want to share with reading the introduction. So the introduction is, when I started doing SEO, there was so much information I was learning that I was overwhelmed. That's the first paragraph. Second paragraph, I didn't know what was important and what wasn't. Third paragraph, at one point, I spent weeks worrying about schema markup. This turned out not to matter. Fourth paragraph, at another point, I tried learning the nuances of the rel canonical attribute. This especially doesn't matter as much now with top-of-funnel content so often being stolen and put on Reddit. Fifth paragraph, now years later, I've learned that SEO, like everything in life, abides by the Pareto principle. Sixth paragraph, you get 80% results from 20% effort. Then the last paragraph in the introduction, so here's a good deal of this 20%. Every paragraph, with the exception of paragraph 4, was a single short sentence. Paragraph 4 was 2 sentences. Both sentences were short. All the sentences were punchy. I didn't know what was important and what wasn't. You get 80% results from 20% effort. So here's a good deal of this 20%. Here's why punchy writing is important. Punchy writing, short writing, it suggests confidence. And when you're a searcher and you're looking for a solution or an answer, whatever it is that you're looking for, you want to feel that the page that you are on, that the writer is confident about what they are saying. If you feel that the writer is wishy-washy or unsure of what they are saying, you might bounce and look for somebody who is more confident and look for a resource that is more confident. Punchy writing suggests confidence. It helps keep people on the page. Short paragraphs, it's just easier to deal with. It's less intimidating than a huge block paragraph. People hate block paragraphs with either long sentences or just many sentences in them, or the worst is a combination of long sentences and many sentences in a single paragraph. People don't like that. People like short paragraphs because it helps with the flow. You feel like you are reading more. It's less intimidating. So the absolute basics are short paragraphs, 1 to 3 sentences, usually one sentence, and then the sentences themselves are punchy, they are confident. Let's talk about hooks. You also really need hooks in your writing. There is such crazy competition of attention these days. Whether it's a piece of SEO writing or a newsletter or a video on Instagram or a long video on YouTube, whatever it is, the way to break through the limitations on attention is with hooks. Good writers use hooks at the beginning of the content. Great writers use hooks throughout the content. It's not enough to just start a piece of writing with a hook. It's so much more impactful when hooks are spread throughout the writing. So this is what a hook is. And I actually have an article on my website. The article is called 25 Hooks for TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. And I put in a definition for a hook. And I wrote, a hook is what comes at the beginning of a piece of content to suck people in. A good hook keeps somebody watching, reading, listening, and engaging with the piece of content. In our age of limited attention, hooks are necessary with every channel and every piece of media. Did you know hooks can also be distributed throughout content to keep people engaged? However, a hook at the beginning is always necessary. So here's some of my favorite hooks. The hooks that I use constantly are, I probably shouldn't share this, or nobody knows this about. So I have a video, nobody knows this about Instagram. That might have like 10 million views now. Gen Z doesn't know this about this video. This has millions of views too. People don't realize this about Google. These all actually have millions of views. Another one, actually this just went viral, and I'm talking about how I always wear pink, and I start the video with, I probably shouldn't share this because people I know will watch, but this is why I always wear pink. I probably shouldn't share this. That's good. Runner-ups are starting with a big accomplishment or a big piece of adversity. This person did this accomplishment. So this 21-year-old is on track to make $1 million this year selling Notion templates without coding. Actually, my video from yesterday is doing really well. I took yesterday's podcast and I just edited the script into a 80-second video, and it's almost now, I posted it last night, it's almost now nearing 100,000 views. Lots of people are resharing it. The hook for that video is, Apple spent millions designing boxes you'll throw away. And then the next sentence is, Microsoft laughed at them. That's a great video. It's a very inspiring video. Sounds negative at the beginning. That's another thing. Negative hooks do very well. Opening sentences or opening introductions that seem negative, they suck people in. I don't like to make negative content though, so I always spin it and turn it positive, but negative hooks pull people in. In fact, in the video I just shared, the next sentence after Microsoft laughed at them, the next sentence is, the experience starts before you touch the product. It begins the moment you see the box. Steve Jobs said the box is the first moment of truth. It's when you begin to communicate what the product is about. So it quickly gets positive after the negative. Some more hooks. I am constantly amazed by so-and-so, or hack your so-and-so in 2024. Here's my favorite lesson of 2024. People don't actually understand that if this happens, then this. If you think someone might think so-and-so, but you want to know for sure, this piece of content is for you. Those are a few more hooks. I have 25 hooks listed. So this article of mine, 25 hooks for TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. You can find it on my articles page, edwardsturm.com/articles. I give 25 unique hooks there. And then further down in the article, I also link to 7 more viral hooks. And then I link to hooks that I use constantly. So there's a ton of hooks here. But hooks are really important. I want to talk about AI. AI sucks. That's my statement. AI sucks. Now, not really. I mean, I actually, in pretty much all of the thumbnails for this podcast, I use AI in one way or another, whether I am using a background removal tool, which is AI, or if I am using generative AI to create images for the thumbnail. And I do that constantly. However, lots of people will use AI content that is obvious AI content. That is when it sucks. But if you can have AI content that makes someone feel and that seems real, seems like it was written by a human, that's where it's okay. But most people, they stop at the first generation or the second generation, and they don't try to make it look like it is real or sound like it is real. Now, that's the case with images. With writing, it's even harder. When it comes to writing, AI is really bad. Now, there might be some people listening or watching who are thinking, but Edward, you've talked about websites that use AI-generated text to rank for hundreds of thousands of keywords. This is true. Those websites will see quick successes, and there's a good chance they're not going to be around for very long. And if we look at precedents with how Google has behaved with heavy AI-generated text SEO plays in the past, they have literally penalized every property on Google Search Console connected with that site. Now, I know that these cases are rare, but for me, I'm playing the long game, and that's not a risk that I am willing to take. I also believe it hurts brand equity. I believe it removes trust in a brand and doesn't really help build connections with the readers. I can't even tell you how many times I've Googled something and found actually an awesome article that ranked number one, or an awesome page that ranked number one. And then I became either a lifelong reader of that resource, or it got me to convert to whatever it was recommending. This has happened so many times. And I can't remember a single time when this was obviously AI generated. The thing about AI generated SEO landing pages, for top of funnel content, maybe it can be okay, but I don't really write top of funnel content very often. And when I do, I like to write stuff that is unique because it's the unique thoughts that get people to become interested in the rest of the stuff on a website. That's the other thing. It's the unique thoughts and the clearly, thoughtfully crafted content that gets people to explore the rest of the content on the website. And it's such a great sign for Google when a searcher not only doesn't bounce, but stays on the site. And Google can see that through Chrome. That was something that was revealed during the Google API leak, but lots of SEOs already knew that. So this isn't a hill that I'm going to die on. Don't use AI generated text. I personally will not use it. I know so many SEOs who use it and it just reads like AI and it's bad. It's so bad. And lots of people can tell, and people are getting better and better and better every day at spotting AI generated text, and they will bounce. So I'm not going to do it. My take is that it's bad for a brand. It could hurt rankings over time, or it could result in a huge manual penalty. That's my take with AI generated text. And it's just, a lot of it is just plain not good. Don't get me wrong. I use ChatGPT more times than I can count each day. But if I'm searching on Google, I don't want an AI written article to come up. All right, I want to move on to the last thing. You can use AI or not use AI. I don't use it. Also, AI has a hard time writing punchy sentences, 1 to 3 sentence paragraphs, good hooks, all those things. And now the last thing before I move on to keyword use is proofreading. I proofread everything that I publish on my site. Get this, probably around 4 times. I think I'm a bit dyslexic. I'm a slow reader. So maybe I need to do it, but the result is I don't make mistakes in my writing. I want to give an example of a friend. A friend of mine, he's very creative. He comes up with great ideas and his execution is crap. So he's trying to go viral to promote an app of his. He's trying to go viral on TikTok using carousel posts. He has an interesting image at the beginning. He has good music, and then he has relevant writing that makes people swipe and turns people into wanting to use his app. He comes up with decent ideas for the writing. He doesn't proofread any of it. And almost every single slide has huge errors. The writing is clunky, it's verbose, it's not simple. It has crazy grammar errors, crazy spelling errors, or just literally the meaning of the sentences is wrong because it was not proofread and it was written too fast. And so you can have really good SEO copywriting, but if it is riddled with errors because it is not being proofread, people will bounce. It's a matter of trust. If you're reading some resource that you came across on Google and you're seeing all these errors in spelling and grammar, are you going to trust it? A lot of people won't trust it as much. And again, searchers want resources that they feel that they can trust, that keeps them on the page. So lots of people, they just don't proofread enough or at all. So proofread, that's the other basic thing. All right, I want to move on to keywords. I think about language, and if you are doing SEO, you should be thinking about language a lot. The language that appears off-site, your off-site language, that informs Google what your site is about, especially when it is off-site. That's what people are saying about you. But the thing is, you can write those blurbs, and the marketing blurbs that you write appear in places, and then Google believes this is what your site is about. But Google also believes what your site is about by what is written on it. So I think about the content that I write all the time, the language that I use all the time. And you have different hierarchies of keywords and topics. You have your overarching topic, and then you start to go further down the funnel into just exact specific keywords. And these exact specific keywords, they fall within topics, and those topics fall within topics, and so on and so forth. And so I'm usually talking about a mix of my exact keywords, the topics that make up those keywords, and the topics that make up those topics. But I want to make it really simple, and this is what I do with keywords, because lots of people don't even know how to target keywords the right way in the first place. Nobody knows this about keywords. There's my hook. So this is from the Pareto SEO article that I started this episode with. All of this is going to be linked to in the description for this show. Put your target keyword, so you have a target keyword, put your target keyword in the page title, at the beginning of the page title, at the beginning of the meta description, put it in the URL, put it in the H1, in the top heading, and put it at the beginning of the first sentence. Now, if the keyword is something that doesn't sound natural, you're not going to target that keyword exactly, because then it will seem like a grammatical error in your writing. Some keywords are grammatically very incorrect. If that's the case, you want to adapt the keyword so that it is grammatically correct. But if the keyword is grammatically correct and there's a way to use it in a sentence naturally, or there's a way to use it in a page title in H1 naturally, then you should do that. For example, you might have like embed, I think I've talked about this keyword before, embed TikTok feed in website. Let's say that's the keyword, embed TikTok feed in website. You shouldn't call your page embed TikTok feed in website. You should call it embed your TikTok feed in your website or on your website. So you're adapting the keyword so that it sounds natural. Google and searchers, they don't trust pages that don't sound natural. So you want your writing to sound natural. You want your keyword usage to sound natural. You also don't want to use your keyword more than what I just described to you. I've found that just by removing a few instances of the keyword throughout the page, I have ranked better because Google has seen me as keyword stuffing by using that keyword too many times. That's something to consider as well. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share with you for the basics of SEO copywriting. This is how I think about writing and how I think about writing as it pertains to search engine optimization. My love of my life, search engine optimization. If you want to learn more about SEO copywriting, I talk about it a ton in my standalone SEO product, Compact Keywords. That is about how to find and target bottom of funnel keywords using a website, using social media like videos, and how I build links. The link building lessons in this that I am making on Compact Keywords are crazy. Woo! And I show, it's not just me talking, it's me showing literal usage of these tools and how to use them. The lessons are pretty much entirely me using tools and getting results. In fact, this method is so crazy. Okay, I'm about to end this pitch. This method is so crazy that a friend used it with one of his clients, and in 2 days of doing this method, ranked SEO landing pages that are adding an extra $3 million in revenue to his client's company every year in 2 days of work. At the very least, check out the landing page, compactkeywords.com. It is meant to be an educational resource with lots of writing in the way that I described that will teach a lot about bottom of funnel SEO before even buying the product. That's all for my pitch. This is all for episode 486 of my daily digital marketing podcast, The Edward Show. Do this thing every day, 486 days down in a row. Thank you so much for watching. If you are watching on YouTube, thank you so much for listening. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.